Do you ever feel frustrated or unsatisfied with how your landscape photos turn out after editing because they're just missing that special something? Well, that's about to change because in this video, I'm revealing 3 simple editing hacks to transform your landscapes and inject them with this missing wow factor. I'll share the fast and easy steps to recreate each one so that you can liven up your own sunrise, sunset, and even daytime landscape photos in just a few simple clicks. But first, if you're struggling to create images that connect with your audience, then it might be because of a common editing trap that many photographers fall into. It's one that leaves you destined to fail to recreate and do justice to the scene as you remember seeing it with your own eyes. Now, these 3 editing hacks help you overcome this problem, but only after you make one small shift in how you think about your editing. Instead of editing a photo to look how it looked when you captured it, try to make it look how it felt when you captured it. Why? Well, the best photos that really connect with the viewer aren't ones that simply look accurate, they're ones that make someone feel something. So if you can put these feelings that you felt when you captured a photo into your finished image, then you can make the viewer feel some of that too. So these 3 techniques give you 3 different ways to do this because they all help you add a little something to enhance your images beyond strictly a documentary style photo. Now, this first editing hack is as effective as it is stupidly simple to do. It lets you enhance or create a hazy glowing light effect that looks so much more sophisticated than it should, considering how easy it is to pull off. The effect can transform the look and feel of the lighting in your whole scene in as little as a couple of clicks of the mouse. But there is some nuance and it can go wrong if you use it a bit willy-nilly, so here's how to do it the right way. First, add a new empty layer to your image. Then select the brush tool with 0% hardness and 30% opacity. And with the right square bracket key on your keyboard, increase the brush size until it's around 1/2 of the width of your whole image, so pretty large. And then hold the Alt or Option key on your keyboard to turn your mouse pointer into the color sampler, and then click to sample a light warm color from near the brightest part of your sky. And now here comes the magic. Just click once with your mouse into your image roughly on the brightest part of the sky, and just like that you have a warm hazy light emanating from the sun across your landscape. Now sometimes it can look a little bit too obvious at this full strength, so you can just reduce the layer opacity to blend it in a little bit. And this becomes a fantastic and easy effect to add to your photos, and later in the video I'll show you how to take it to the next level by combining it with technique number 3. But first, simple hack number 2. Now sometimes you'll want to inject more drama into a scene than what's come out in your raw file, whether that's to enhance some stormy conditions or to add some pop to a sky that looks a little bit too flat. An effective way to do this is by enhancing the contrast in the sky, but not in the usual contrast curves adjustment kind of way. This one uses a technique normally reserved for sharpening your images at the end of your workflow, but we're going to use it in a way that seems a little bit weird until you see the result. First, create a new merged layer on top of all the others by going Select All, Edit, Copy Merged, Edit, Paste. And this creates a new layer in your Layers panel, and if you want, you can convert it into a smart object, so you have the option to alter what we're about to do next, which is to run the high pass filter on this layer. Now, here's where it gets weird. You may be familiar with using this filter as part of a sharpening technique, where you'll use a really low value in this slider to subtly sharpen the edges in your photo, but this time we're going to crank the slider all the way up here, roughly to the point where we start to see the shapes of the clouds coming through, like this. Now the exact slider value will depend on each photo, so just do this part by eye, and then click OK and change the blend mode of this weird looking grey layer to overlay. Now notice how the whole image takes on this slightly bizarre contrasty look and feel, so the next thing we need to do is restrict this effect to the sky and the clouds only. And the easiest way to do this is to grab the Object Selection tool, click on the sky, and then click the Add Layer Mask button down here to restrict this effect to the sky only. Now toggling this layer off and on, we can see the contrast boosting effect this has had on the sky, but there's also a problem. It's added some weird haloing around the edges of the sky and the land. So to fix this, we can take the black brush into the layer mask and brush along these edges to remove the effect. And then from here you can either just leave the effect as is, or you can make it stronger or weaker. To reduce the effect, you can simply reduce the layer's opacity like this, or to make it stronger, first try an alternative blending mode like hard light or vivid light, or if you did make this layer a smart object, then you can double click the high pass filter here and adjust the slider up and down again as you see fit. Now this third editing hack might be the most powerful of the 3 because it uses an advanced masking technique but in a way that's one click easy. So the real power in this third hack is taking the advanced masking technique and using it to do a handful of different types of adjustments. And if you already know how to use luminosity masking, then you can do that part the manual way, and I won't cover that here because I've created a free plugin for Photoshop that you can download from the link in the description and pinned comment. And that's going to skip the complicated steps to help you create a luminosity mask with a single click of a button. So all we need to do to pull this off really quickly is click one of these buttons to load the appropriate luminosity selection, and then immediately add a new adjustment layer so that the selection gets loaded into its mask. And then anything we do with this adjustment layer is going to be applied just to, in this case, the highlights. So that covers how to do it. Now let's look at what to actually do with this. One of my favorite and most effective uses for this simple technique is one that enhances the natural warmth of a sunrise or a sunset, which we can do by loading a highlight selection from the free plugin up here, and then adding a photo filter adjustment layer and selecting the warming filter. So because the highlight selection is automatically added to the adjustments layer mask, that means it's only going to appear in the highlights of the image. And that really works nicely for sunrise and sunset photos like this. And then if you want to adjust this, you can slide the density slider up and down like this to make the warming effect stronger or weaker to your liking. Now, earlier I did say that we'd return to technique number 1 and supercharge it by combining it with this third technique. So let's go back to the hazy light layer we created earlier. And remembering first time around, we just used the layer opacity to blend the effect of this in. But this time, let's load a highlights luminosity selection with the free plugin here, and then add a new layer mask to our hazy light layer down here. And the result being that this hazy light layer is now restricted to just the highlights of the image. And that unlocks the ability for us to increase the strength of the effect with the layer opacity as high as 100% without it looking unnatural. Now, like I said earlier, you could use and create these luminosity selections and masks the long manual way via the channels panel, or you can make it one click easy with my free luminosity masking plugin for Photoshop, which you can download from the link in the description and pinned comment.